And now, a mid-tier award season sci-fi drama from 2019 that's cast like a $100 million blockbuster from 1998, with an early 2000s premise and a 2010s Terrence Malick whisper narration framing device shooting for the Oscars in 2020. How's that for space-time dilation? Astra is an ultra-realistic, no-bullshit, no romanticism, no idealism, near-future speculative sci-fi space travel movie whose main gimmick is that it's just so over the whole idea of space travel. Whereas even the scariest movies about what might be waiting for us out among the dark matter, your Alien, your Predator, your Event Horizon, your whatever else, at least honor the basic idea that there's merit to flinging ourselves out into the stars even if there might be something nasty. Ad Astra is very much on the side that says, no it ain't, outer space is isolating, empty, and dangerous, there's zero indication there's anything out there worth finding, and people obsessed with looking are probably psychologically malfunctioning misanthropes who don't know how to connect with other humans and or forgot that what's really amazing is all the little details about people and flowers and feelings and humanity all around them right down here on Earth. Now, if you know me, you know I'm about as far on the other end of that bullshit as you can get, which doesn't really have any bearing on the review here because that wouldn't be fair, but I bring it up to illustrate the point that the film, while not perfect, is at least good enough that I didn't really take note of how much of a direct go f*** yourself it was to some of the relatively few closely held ideals I actually still have until ruminating on it slightly later afterwards. So if nothing else, I can safely say that the technical craft and emotional resonance on display here are very much front and center as opposed to any kind of ham-handed moralizing one way or another, which is kind of welcome change given that the current trend for intellectual science fiction is to repeatedly hold up allegedly terrifying technological trends or ideas about the same and shout, "Did you get the point? If not, we can repeat it." In any case, story-wise, it's the near future and Brad Pitt is an Air Force Space Command astronaut who does super dangerous upper atmosphere walks on towering space antennas because he's a stoic, near-emotionless, fear-proof gargoyle of a man because if bottled up masculine blankness is keeping Ryan Gosling looking like a bearded 12-year-old at 38, there must be some health benefit to it. Okay, actually it's because he's got serious daddy issues. His astronaut father, played by Tommy Lee Jones, was a legendary NASA hero who took off 26 years ago on a famous mission to explore the outer solar system for signs of alien life and disappeared, never to return along with his experimental ship and crew. But now, out of nowhere, Earth, its satellites, and colonies on Moon and Mars are being imperiled by powerful bursts of electronic disrupting antimatter waves being blasted at the planet from somewhere near Neptune, and wouldn't you know it, it's coming from the not actually lost experimental research ship belonging to Pitt's missing father, who the government now suspect may actually be alive after all these years on the ship and involved, possibly against his will, possibly not, in the deployment of the antimatter wave attacks, if they are in fact attacks. The plan for now? Avoid a mass panic long enough to covertly smuggle Pitt onto a secure radio broadcast facility on Mars and see if he, among anyone, can make real contact with his father, establish what's going on and how it might be shut down, which involves sneaking through spaceports on the moon, other spaceships, etc. No prizes for guessing that the plan is complicated, further complicated, and ultimately thrown in total disarray by the army, government not telling our hero the whole truth, myth-ruining secrets about Jones' actual personality and mission behavior, waiting to be discovered, the antimatter burst mucking things up at plot-convenient times, a decidedly kick-ass chase scene involving lunar pirates with kitted-out moon buggies, and a jump-scare reveal that I can all but guarantee you will not see coming because how could you? Like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. All of it presented with the attention to detail and functional realism regarding probable near-future space tech compelling and practically oriented enough that it actually does need to go all the way into protagonist alone in the infinite blackness with his interior monologue of quasi-poetic Manfield's territory before you really cue in on just how deliberately the literal Brad Pitt drifts to the edge of existence to literally confront the literal origin point of his trauma so that the literal ripple effects of said trauma will stop literally ripping his world apart metaphor, and actually go, geez, that's a bit blunt now, isn't it? And yeah, it sounds like I'm teasing the movie, which maybe I sort of am, because right about the same time that Ad Astra starts getting really, really explicit about this is about the same point where a lot of it becomes about Pitt hovering in space while staring off into different space, doing soliloquies that are one step removed from the Irish dad tough guy poetry in The Grey. And I also found myself going, oh, okay, solid ending. We're still going like 4 or 5 times, and each time liking a little bit less, but ultimately it finishes pretty strong. The getting there is pretty satisfying as movies about being down and unsatisfied go. Pitt's very good, especially when he gets to the parts where his resolve has to start cracking. Donald Sutherland and Ruth Negga show up to add welcome gravity of 2 very different types and key supporting roles, and the coming and going secondary cast is solid overall, even if this is very much a solo show for Pitt for a lot of its runtime. So kudos to him and the director James Gray for pulling it off. I mean, it's not a movie that I can say was a fun watch, but it was engaging, solid. I give it a strong 7 out of 10.